Hey, check out this announcement. Trump's new ushering in of our new plan in space, our new program with the whole military emphasis. Yeah, how they're bringing us back from Mars and kind of making it a little more real for us. Here it is.
Follow astronaut Jack Schmitt. Exactly 45 years ago, almost to the minute, Jack became one of the last Americans to land on the moon. Today we pledge that he will not be the last, and I suspect we'll be finding other places to land in addition to the moon. What do you think, Jack? Where's Jack? What do you think, Jack? Huh? We'll find some other places out there? There are a couple of other places, right?
We should learn from the moon.
We'll learn. The directive I'm signing today will refocus America's space program on human exploration and discovery. It marks an important step in returning American astronauts to the moon for the first time since 1972 for long-term exploration and use. This time, we will not only plant our flag and leave our footprint, we will establish a foundation for an eventual mission to Mars and perhaps someday to many worlds beyond. This
Question about the moon landing hoax. Really, I'll tell you what, people, them's fighting words. You say America wasn't the first one to land on the moon. Well, the first thing they say is that, well, I watched it on the TV.
We got the proof right here.
Yeah. Well, this is what. Forget about all the candy-coated coloring and the beautiful tinfoil wrapped all around the lunar module that they've been showing us ever since that. This is what you saw. If you really did watch the moon landing on your television, your little black and white piece of junk at home, this is what you saw. This is what we're looking at right now. And to this day, believe that we landed on the moon. Another thing to point out here is there's no dust all over this thing with this rocket blast. You would think that fine powder dust would have been blasted away
From the jets.
Yeah, I mean directly on, but did it settle? I don't know, there's like, what, I forgot how the percentage less gravity there. Wouldn't the dust just fly even farther out?
You'd think that the dust would stick to their suits at least, and they'd be all gray.
That's what I'm saying, they've got these really brilliantly colored pictures of the lunar lander and them even. I mean, are they doctored up? Will NASA just admittedly say, well, yeah, we doctored them up to make them look nicer because everything was ugly, the thing was covered in dust.
Trying to beat Russia.
Yeah,
nice, flashy.
Yeah, right. Let's look at something we can be proud of. I mean, skip the fact, right, that it looks like, some aluminum foil. I don't know if you've ever really gotten into some of the information they got on this lunar lander, but you ought to check out some of the close-ups. Now that we can zoom in on stuff with our computers, I guess they never thought that we would have that kind of capability in the future, so they figured they could just, once a year throw these pictures out on some... Back then, that's how they were thinking. They never knew we'd all have VCRs and then eventually full-on access to freeze-frame any picture we see, any movie, and zoom in on it. You gotta check out this lunar lander.
Look, I'm not even sure that we even went to the moon.
I'm not either.
Look at these. I mean, you can see the curtain rods and tinfoil.
Oh yeah, the thing looks like it's made out of, like, garbage, actually. You should see the panelings. You can move in on it on some of the pictures, and you can see where it's like buckled cardboard. It
And
even
like-
looks like construction paper sometimes.
And like tinfoil.
But in the background, there's no stars. I haven't seen one star yet in
No
all these
stars,
pictures.
and then there is stars.
Well, the astronauts in the interview after, some say they could see them and some say they couldn't. They...
Yeah, actually, in that one video of the press conference after Apollo 11,
in moving around in this rough terrain.
We were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall during the period of time that we were photographing the solar corona what stars we could see.
I don't remember seeing any. Neil, you were...
They said they didn't see any stars at all.
And then there's a modern day one where Don Pettit, astronaut Don Pettit, is asked with another astronaut whether or not they can see stars. And Don Pettit doesn't know.
From Mark Cameron. This is from Mark Cameron.
Whilst in space, have you ever looked away from Earth into the black void?
Yeah.
Yeah, all
because
the
you can
time.
see.
Yeah,
because you can see the stars.
Oh yeah.
You know, and pretty much all the time you can see the stars.
Stumbles on his words and looks at the other astronaut, and then they verify what they're supposed to say. We'll have to show you that clip too. Check this one out. This is astronaut Don Pettit. He's also the one that comes out. We'll show you another clip we found where he says that all the telemetry data that it took us to get to the moon.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. But
was destroyed accidentally, and it would be too painstaking to recreate. Check this video out. In 2017, we can't do the stuff that they were doing. I mean, I think they had a typewriter in the damn lunar module, right? And we can't do that. We're gonna be working on it for the next 20, 30 years, though. Trump just said in his latest announcement. We're gonna give up on Mars now. You all kind of laughed that one off. That was too much. So we're gonna reel you back in on Mars for the next 30, 40 years worth of, the moon for the next 30, 40 years worth of budget.
Take that back and go back to the moon.
Yeah, it's crazy. Cancel Mars. Yeah, you guys ain't gonna buy that. We're gonna put you on. We're gonna do everything on the dark side, though. You know, it's more feasible. You know, for our military operations on the moon to keep us safe, to be on the side you can't see with a telescope. You know. But, yeah, we'll have that ready for you in the next 20, 30 years. Just keep on throwing it this way.
Where does the lunar rover come from? Like, where does it fold out? Where is it stored?
It was in a bag tied to the side of it. If you see that big, it looks like not a burlap, but maybe a canvas bag, like a military-type bag. They actually pulled that little rover buggy out of there, disassembled. It was like folded up and disassembled.
Right.
And in spacesuits now, fully vacuumized and blown up, very tough to move in, elbows and fingers. These gloves are really hard when they're
big,
vacuumed and blown up. They assembled this, basically looks like the same dimensions as an army jeep they used to make the little, you know, the rover that they're out there doing. You can see them burning up, like they're spinning the tires, like they're not worried about these little wheels breaking.
Or flying off into space.
Yeah, they did take it all the way to the moon. Let's take it easy, guys. There's even one thing. Houston's like, hey, go ahead and spin it around real quick while you're out there. And they're like, yeehaw, boys, go America. Like, come on, man. I mean, you're talking professionals here. It'd be like, hey, take it easy. Creep around with that thing. We got it to the moon, and you guys actually managed to assemble it without making a tear in your suit. Did anybody ever mess with a car out there? You want to try to put a Jeep together on the moon where you might get a little cut and you get sucked out of that cut, and I guess your blood apparently boils and you freeze at the same time. They've got all the bases covered when you want to wonder what happens to you when you die in space, you know?
Everything happens.
Alright, so we've maybe hopefully opened y'all's eyes a little bit into what might be going on here with our state of consciousness, if you want to call it, our reality, what they're doing to shape our reality and push us around, and even down to the shape of what we live on, maybe, and how far and whether or not we can get off of it at all. We may not have ever accomplished these feats. And what better way to control us than to literally start with the garden that our feet are planted on and change that. Then no matter what kind of lie you try to perpetrate, you're already starting with the root of everything you know being a lie. And maybe that's why they do it. Maybe because when you start with everything you know, in first grade, in every class, you've got a globe. Even in math class in high school, there's a globe. You never even use it. It's just sitting there. Yeah. Well, that's because then now it's easier for them to lie on top of a lie. And when everything you know is a lie, the very base of everything you live on is a lie, your understanding of it isn't true, maybe that's a motive. Who knows? I mean, it's a big part of their plan is keeping us under control. I mean, all the money we make and all the taxes we generate means nothing if they can't control us. So maybe that's a reason to look into these things, question them. What they're claiming is science. It's not science. Realize it's scientism. And it's your right as a human being to question science. That's what furthers science and does make us better as a race. Questioning the understood and widely accepted and preached and indoctrinated science. Question it if you see a crack in it. We implore you. We're going to be doing more videos on this stuff to see if we can maybe put some cracks in the wall for you people. And maybe you can realize that you might need to start maybe especially helping your kids, kind of keep them from just falling into the zombie zone and wasting their souls.